Where are we going next? We're going to the West Coast. We're going to talk USC recruiting. The Trojans, they drop one at home to Penn State, 33-30. I watched a lot of the first half of this one, and I thought, wow, USC's defense really came to play. Not so much in the second half. They lose this one. Some really big names on campus, including prized quarterback commitment. Julian Lewis, the 5-star quarterback, number 5 ranked quarterback in America, goes along with a couple other flip targets. You got Benny Patterson. He's a defensive lineman committed to Cincinnati that USC's been trying to get out on campus for a couple weeks now. You got safety Stephen Miller committed to Mississippi State. And then you got defensive lineman Joseph Mbachu, who seems like he is just trying to find any team besides the one he's committed to attend. He's been taking visits everywhere but Florida for the entire season. And then you got some really, really talented 2026 prospects led by quarterback Ryder Lyons, interior offensive lineman Samuel Utu, and on threes, number 1 linebacker in the 2026 class, Tyler Atkinson. So, Steve, is USC okay? I mean, they dropped another game here. A lot of top recruits at home. What do you make of this?
Well, all their games have been fun, exciting ball games. The 3 losses have been tough. They've been right there in all of those games. You know, the win over LSU, super exciting to start the season. Beating Wisconsin a couple weeks ago, also exciting. Look, I have a new on 3 RPM in favor of USC right now. Stephen Miller, safety, committed to Mississippi State. I wouldn't be surprised if he's in USC's class by the end of the night. I like where the Trojans stand there. Sending some other text messages on USC, but 4-star wide receiver commit Corey Sims was back, had a fantastic visit.
Now, there's rumors he was going to visit Nebraska last weekend, but that didn't happen.
It did not happen.
Okay, so this was good to see him back on campus.
He's locked in. Look, I think if you're watching USC this year, you are seeing, though their record is not what they want it to be, I think you can see that this program is moving in the right direction and that college football is just hard. Now, they got to maintain this level of play and find a way to win some of these ball games in the second half of the season. There's a lot more big games out there for USC, a lot more opportunity. And I'm just excited I just like watching them fly around and play with the physicality that they're playing with on defense and still making things happen on offense. And this isn't your traditional Lincoln Riley offense. He doesn't have his first-round draft pick, Heisman Trophy winner under center right now at quarterback. I think that receiver room, you know, he's still recruiting, building it up to get it to the full electricity that we were used to seeing at Oklahoma. That offensive line, they got some really nice young talent on the offensive line. So USC's a team that we could be looking at next year, and they could be 6-0 at this point. Next year. I think they got a great defensive coaching staff in place. They're recruiting at a high level. They're pushing for a top 10 class. They're at number 11 nationally right now. They're in great spot for guys like Ryder Lyons and Samuel Utu in the 2026 class. They're already in the top 10 right now, early in 2026. So they've lost some gut wrenchers. Some tough at Michigan, the one today. I mean,
the one today hurts. They played really well. I thought they had a chance to run away with this one in the first half, but the defense didn't really hold up. They didn't score as many points in the second half. What do you think Julian Lewis, what's his perspective on this? Because oftentimes fans and recruits don't see the same thing on the field.
Right. I mean, I think Julian has to look at a situation and say, hey, I have an opportunity to come into USC and compete right away. I mean, we've seen Lincoln Riley play a true freshman quarterback over Spencer Rattler.
Yeah.
Spencer Rattler's in the NFL. I mean, he's not a terrible player.
Right.
You know, so
he's not afraid to play the guy that he thinks can play.
Exactly right. And so if you're Julian Lewis, you look at Lincoln Riley and you say, look, this guy's going to get I'm going to get a fair shot to play if I stick with USC. And then within that, outside of this year, his starting quarterback is the first pick in the draft and the Heisman Trophy winner at some point in his career. And then he can look around and see there's some really good defensive players recruited. And that was one thing that his dad always emphasized to me early in the process. How's USC going to recruit on defense? Are they going to have the horses to play championship level football on that side of the ball? And I think you're like, well, they hired Deontay Lynn. They hired Doug Belk. They hired Coach Entz. They hired Coach Henney. So that defensive coaching staff really came together. and they're recruiting. Look, they got a chance to finish with a top
Right.
10 class. And this is a class that had some major losses along the way too, but they're in these recruiting battles. They're going toe to toe with everybody. I think that there's a lot of investment in USC football as they get all their infrastructure in order. But that doesn't mean Julian Lewis is still going to sign with USC. I mean, look, like I just gave you all the reasons why he would.
Yeah.
But look, expecting them to be at Indiana next weekend.
And there's playing time at those schools to be.
Indiana
to be
might
happy.
actually be the toughest place for him to play.
Right. To get on
not-
early. I mean, Colorado, we know Shador leaves and that thing's wide open.
Indiana took 2 good quarterbacks last year. They got some older guys in the room, but certainly, look, his relationship with Tino Sinceri is second to none. And then Colorado in 2 weeks for the Cincinnati game. So we'll see, how things get left with his visit to USC this weekend. It was his second home game. And I know he loves getting around Lincoln Riley. He's called him the best coach in college football because he's the head coach, he's the OC, and the quarterback's coach. And so those are things that resonated with him, but there's reasons why he likes those other schools. And there's a lot of boxes to check in the Julian Lewis recruitment. So we'll see how the chips fall as he continues through his process. But I will say this, USC, they didn't sign a quarterback last cycle. So if at any point they feel like there's a chance they don't sign Julian Lewis, they're going to go hard on somebody. And it's not going to take Lincoln Riley very long to probably flip somebody.
Yeah, we've talked about Houston Longstreet. Well, we won't go too deep into those names until we have to. But they'll have some options. Lincoln Riley's not going to leave USC empty-handed at the quarterback position 2 years in a row. All right, USC fans, how we feeling? Recruiting's still there. Recruiting, I know today was a tough loss, 33-30 to Penn State. It's a tough loss, but talk to us, comment section below. How are you feeling about recruiting? How are you feeling about the flip targets on campus this weekend? Let us know. Comment section below.